So it's all for play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Villains, and welcome to For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast. And on the day, unfortunately, that Val Kilmer passed away, I thought it would be a nice fitting memory for him to wear the aviators, obviously, of Top Gun. And the reason I do that is because Aston Villa were, oh my God, I'm going to go to hell for this pun, I suppose, really, because it's brutal. Were the Icemen out there today, keeping their cool in situations whereby they could have lost their cool, in situations where I lost my cool, and in situations where I'm sure Paddy had lost his cool in the pub tonight. But Aston Villa prevailed 3-0 versus Brighton. A really good performance for Villa in the main. A really good performance. Once again, the big players stood up. The big players stood up to the to the occasion, I think, tonight. Goals from Rashford, goals from Asensio, goals from Daniel Malin. Talk about January transfer windows. There's a January transfer window getting us 3 points tonight from some really, really intricate play. I thought throughout the game, Villa played really well. I thought we defended pretty well. I thought Matty Cash at times obviously had a difficult job, but I thought we were obviously we didn't have the most possession. Well, the last I saw, we didn't have the most possession, but I thought that we were definitely the team that was able to play through the lines an awful lot better. When I said it before the game that if they're playing as a 4, having the 25 and 26, their names bloody escape me at the moment. The two guys, the two of them who should have been booked at one stage during the game, but weren't. Having the two of those guys in there, I thought we could play through them. And as the game went on, I do think we did do that. Ayari and Gomez, that's it. I do think we did that, and we certainly did it in the first half as well. It was, I suppose, one of those games whereby mixing it up, going for that long ball, Rashford obviously being in his own half, getting onto the end of it and scoring that goal, that really opened up the game. An awful lot, us going 1-0 up. Then the VAR check from the handball for Mitoma, I did not see it in real time. I didn't see it in real time. I wasn't fully sure whether they would overturn it until I saw about 2 or 3 replays, and then I went, yeah, it's going to be overturned. Matt Donoghue overturning that in the VAR box. Obviously, we didn't get the look from Mr. Donoghue in the VAR box for the penalty claim on Ramsey. I think it was a penalty. I think Inchwood just lunges for it. Does Ramsey make the most of it? Maybe he does, but there's contact in there, and it was a trip in him. It should have been a penalty. It was a stonewaller for me, to be honest with you. But we didn't get it. We got fortuitous then with the handball and Mitoma. And then Marco Asensio comes off the bench and sticks one in the back of the net. He had a snapshot about 30, maybe about a minute or two before he scored the goal in the box, and it was saved. And then obviously the goal comes through from great work by Morgan Rogers. I think it was Matty Cash played Rogers the ball. It was a lovely ball into him. Anyway, Rogers gets it. Aaron Cashin, who's just after coming on, I think at that stage, I think it was Cashin that was after. Yeah, it was literally just come on about 4 or 5 minutes before and kind of gets caught in no man's land. Rogers pulls that ball back, and Asensio passes it back against the grain into the bottom corner to make it 2-0. And then I'm going to be really honest. My 100% legal and not at all dodgy stream went on the blink, and I just as Daniel Malin was about to kick the ball, and I've no idea what his goal was like. So I'm not going to sit here and say, all I know is that he scored. So I missed him kicking the ball. I saw him celebrating, and then the whole thing went kaput afterwards. I didn't see any replay. So I'm looking forward to seeing a replay of that later on. But by all accounts, it was a great strike. But it's superbly important for him to get a goal tonight. He only comes on in what the That's at the 88th minute. He gets to play 12 minutes and he gets a goal. And you know, a lot of people have been asking, you know, what is the story with Daniel Mallon? Was he going to get a fair rub of the green or whatever? Look, I think really all the three signings, yes, he's got the least amount of game time, but of all the three signings that have come in, they've all had to work their way into the team at different times. They've all had to take their chances coming off the bench. And they had to, you know, like Asensio has had to come off the bench and prove himself scoring goals. Rashford has had to come off the bench and prove himself getting assists. Mallon has now had to come off the bench and he's proving himself, or he proved himself tonight by scoring a goal, by all accounts a really good goal. And that's kind of what you want. That's kind of what you want. And you want, because like as I said after the Preston game, and it wasn't because we had won so convincingly against Preston, obviously Preston being the opposition that they were, the lower league opposition that they were. But when you've got subs that can come on and they can change the game, we saw it at the start of the season. That at the start of the season, it allowed us to kind of get out of jail at times. It was great, brilliant seeing people come off the bench and to see goals being scored. But I think at this stage of the season, when your substitutes start scoring, a lot of it is tactical and a lot of it is timing your run. And I don't mean the players timing the run to score goals, but the team timing its run at the business end of the season. And I hope that is the case. I really, really do hope that is the case, because like we made how many substitutions? We made all 5 substitutions there tonight. And we had the luxury of bringing on Amadou Onana, and to try him in a midfield partnership with Kamara. I thought he played well there. Another person who I don't think will score out too well in the who will score out too well in things like SofaScore or anything like that is Onana, but he takes up just so much space due to his huge size in there. But it gives Tielemans a 25-minute plus 10 minutes injury time. It gives him a 35-minute break. It's 35 less minutes in Tielemans' legs. Ramsey, I thought, played pretty okay today as well. He came off at the same time, gives him a 35-minute break, gives Marcus Rashford a 35-minute break. We've got lots of games coming up soon. And being able to bring on those players, I think, is very, very important. And obviously, when you bring on those players and 2 of them get goals to solidify the tie, that can only be classified as a really, really good result. So I'm super happy with it. I'm super, super happy with that performance. Yeah, there's very few negatives. Look, obviously I was fuming after the penalty wasn't given, but you know, in hindsight in 2020, it should have been given. You know, if we're going to take that, sorry, not hindsight in 2020. I mean, but in a vacuum, it should have been given. And if we talk about that in a vacuum, it should have been given. But I'm not going to dwell on it. Not going to dwell on it tonight, because there was so much more positive tonight. Like Boubacar Kamara, again, is going to be one of these players that if people do not watch him play football and go on match reports and go on player ratings, and again, to a great degree, the bane of football, well, you know, guys know that I've got problems with two areas of statistics or number-based things in football. Number one is aggregation side scoring. So, well, not even aggregation side scoring, but the algorithmic scoring of player ratings, such as, you know, SofaScore, who scored. They're flawed. I think that's fair. And then the other one is XG. But the reason I'm talking about that is the Kamara is he's going to grade out at like 7, somewhere between 7 to 7.6 nearly every game. And people say, oh, he's a steady Eddie player. The man is absolutely silky. He is brilliant. Like, he's just so assured and calm and just gets about his business. And you see him just ferreting around the place there in midfield, just being brilliant. That's like sometimes we can over egg the pudding when we're trying to describe someone, but like, he just gets around that midfield and is just being brilliant. He really is. And I thought today he was a real anchor for Aston Villa. I thought he was really good at taking the ball from Martinez, turning and playing the ball as well. There was 1 or 2 times where we had to go very straight, and I thought that's exactly what he does. I cannot wait to see my phone flash up and say Boubacar Kamara signed a new 5-year deal on 300 grand a year or whatever it is. It seems like we got the reporting today to say that he was getting a historic contract, put zeros on the end of it. Villa need to keep their best players and find ways of keeping their best players. And Boubacar Kamara at the moment is just a cornerstone within this team. It's so good to see him playing so well, coming back from an Aston injury, and just basically taking it all in his stride. He doesn't seem like he's a Billy Big Bollocks. Doesn't seem to be one of the guys who wants all the adulation on him. He's just ferrets, as I said. That's the word I'm going to use for him. Is he just gets into these little nooks and crannies and these holes, robs that ball, moves it forward, and gets on with his job. And it washes over the soul to have a player that can do that can elevate the attacking talent that we have, can elevate the through balls from the likes of Tielemans, can elevate the runs that Rodgers makes, or give him a ball. It might only be a 6-yard pass, but it's in stride to Rodgers, and it allows him to make 20 yards carrying the ball on the ground. To chip a ball over the top, I would say that's probably his weakest area of passing, but he can still do it, and he still elevates those players in front of him, and we should not take that for granted. And I know Aston Villa fans don't do that as well. Another man I want to single out for comment as well is Pau Torres. Now, I know himself and Martinez had that bit of a mix-up for the goal that was ruled out, the Adringa goal that was ruled out. But I think on the balance of play, Pau Torres looked back. He looked back to match fitness tonight. He looked very competent, composed. Yes, you don't get the hulking strength that you get from Mings, but what you get is somebody who can turn and play a ball through the center. That's not to say Mings can't do it, but Torres is evidently better than him at doing that. Well done on getting 90 minutes for him as well tonight, and that's really important. You do always kind of look I at the risk of being called hypocritical, I was talking after the Preston game about partnerships and the Mings and Konsa partnership just being our best one, and that we want to stay with partnerships now at the end of the season. But we know Mings is running on a flat tire. What I mean by that is that his knee still isn't 100% right, and we are going to need to mind that. And God knows Aston Villa have their best times and their most exciting times when they have a fella with a dicky knee playing centre half for them. Go back to the man here over my shoulder. He's one of them. Martin Laursen, another. And Tyrone Mings is fast getting into the bracket of very, 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 very pivotal defenders for centre halves for Aston Villa that have dodgy knees as well and need to be minded. And I'm okay to do that. I'm okay to have that, because we have Axel Disasi who can come in. We have Pau Torres that can come in, and we've got even Lamar Bogart has stepped in there. Boubacar Kamara has stepped in there. So sometimes the battle, the teak toughness, the battle hardedness that a team can get going through the adversity of injury can actually make them stronger in the long run. And I don't need to tell you guys that. I don't need to pontificate on that or come across patronizing, because everybody, I think, can agree on that yes, Kamara's best position is central midfield. Yes, people will have their to varying degrees different comments or opinions on who our best centre half partnership is, but I don't think that anyone can really have any rebuttal to when somebody would say that having players that have been able to slot in there and play there and take their licks essentially and just get through the game, that can be character building for a team, and it can be character building for those players as well. And the reason that I say that is because it's a lot of the players that we're talking about coming back from injury, or a lot of the players who've come in in January and had to hit the ground running, or have had to make an effort or make a name for themselves in the bench that we're discussing tonight. Like, we're not discussing the John McGinns here who've played tons of minutes tonight. It's not he didn't play poorly tonight or anything like that, but tonight he isn't the story tonight. Morgan Rogers gets 2 assists, but he isn't really the story of tonight. Yuri Tielemans, for all the brilliance he's had, Luca Dean, for all the brilliance he's had this season, they're not really the story of tonight. And when you have a 3-0 win like this against Brighton, there will be a story to tell from that game, whether it be the ebbs and flows or the VAR situations. But for me, I think tonight it's the consistency, it's the coherency, it's the players coming back to form, the players hitting form, the players announcing themselves when we need it the most. That really is the story of this game tonight for Aston Villa. It's an away win. It's our sixth win in a row. And I think I read it a moment ago when it was flashing by in the comments that's 4 clean sheets in a row. Am I right in saying that? Is it 4 clean sheets? Or is it 5 clean sheets? I don't know. I can't remember what it is. It might be 4 or 5. Anyway, it's consecutive clean sheets in a row, which is great to see. Yeah, so he's confirming there that it is for in a row, and we couldn't buy one for love nor money pretty much since the turn of 2024. We haven't been able to buy a clean sheet really, and we've had 4 in a row. You know, we've had 4 in a row through different competitions, admittedly, but this one is away from home against a very good Brighton side who now we've leapfrogged. We're now in 7th position. We're now staring upwards. Bournemouth lost today. Am I right in saying that? My internet is very slow. I'm sorry if I'm chopping in and out. Yeah, it looks like Bournemouth lost today. Newcastle then coming back to win 2-1 as well. So Newcastle have to play. Newcastle and Chelsea have a game in hand on us, and then we come in 7th there at 48 points. But you know, this team can go to Nottingham Forest and basically have every right to have a right crack off them, off Forest. Not obviously, look, we know how good Forest have been this season. They tied with Manchester United at times last night. Yes, they only won. They didn't blow Manchester United away, and they only won 1-0. But they're playing some really, really good football. But Aston Villa are the players that we have and we've spoken about there. We should be looking to go to play Forest at the weekend, or bring Forest to Villa Park, should I say, because it's at Villa Park. And and I'm not going to say announce ourselves, but have a right go at it. And it should be the only thing that's in this team's mind. PSG will happen. PSG will happen on during next week. Nobody's going to take that away from us. But we have to get over Forest first. We absolutely have to get over Forest first. And with the team we have and the injuries that are, and the injured players that are coming back, and as I said, that's what the story is tonight. We should be able to go and play Forest at the weekend, take the game to Forest at the weekend, not be afraid of Forest at the weekend. At home, we should be able to do what we do to teams at home and stamp our authority on the game. Get revenge for the reverse fixture against Forest that we had earlier on in the season. Snatching victory from the jaws of defeat. One where I was disconsolate in afterwards. One of the few games where I came on here. I'd say in the 6 years I've been doing the podcast, and I was disconsolate after the game. It really stands out to me. I felt we had our pants down in that one. Go and get a revenge for that, and then think about Crystal Palace. We have the horses in reserve. We should be able to go and look at these 2 games, and then whatever comes from Southampton then comes from Southampton after that. But game by game, week by week, adversity or triumph by adversity or triumph, Aston Villa will still have a lot to say about the end of the season. They really will. And I know we were joking in the team sheet tantrum, but I was asked when I was on TalkSport today if Villa finish 7th and get knocked out of the Champions League, and that they don't get Champions League football next year, would it be seen as a negative for Villa? And I said, basically, we would love Aston Villa to get Champions League, but why are we talking about that now? Well, let's talk about that in the 30th of May or whenever, when the dust is settled, because there is a lot of football still to be played this season. There's a lot of football that Aston Villa still need to play, and there's a lot of things that Aston Villa are going to have a say in over the course of the rest of this season as well. So I'm going to come to some of your comments. I'm going to come to some of your comments here as well, guys. Oh my Lord, there's an absolute ball of them. So I'm going to start somewhere in the middle. I do apologize, should I say. John Steele, this is a banger of a statistic. 17 of our last 18 goals have come in the second half of games. Another clean sheet and 6 wins on the trot. Points. Yeah, I'm not having a pint myself tonight, but I do wish I was to celebrate that one for sure. Greg says there was a Stonewall penalty, shocking and great skill from Ramsey. I thought Ramsey was good tonight, and it's funny again. I know I keep talking about scoring sites like SofaScore and who scored and all that, but I don't think he's going to grade out very well from that point of view. But like, you can see why Unai Emery loves to play him. He looks like a fellow who does everything he's told, and does everything that Unai Emery asks him to do, and is a diligent player within the system. So well done, Jacob Ramsey again tonight. Richard Edwards says, thought Konza had a good game. I thought so too. I think Konza has good games nearly every game. I really I was really happy with him, like really happy with the leader he's developed into. Again, I go back to that Newcastle game at the start of last season when Minks goes down injured, and I said that now is the time for leaders to stand up, and Ezri Konza has basically grown his wings and earned these stripes, or whatever you want to call it, and has been fantastic since. He's been a real leader and a mainstay within the team. So absolutely fantastic. Where are we here? Andy says the size says Kamara's a monster, and then Andy Villa says Kamara's unbelievable as well. I think so too. I think he's absolutely brilliant. Where are we here, guys? Ronan says that Rodgers was voted man of the match. It was Kamara all day long. I think it's probably because he got 2 assists. I would say it's probably because he got 2 assists. He was very involved in the game, I thought. But like you, I think Kamara was very good. I am very much blinkered by how much I think he's just absolutely superb player. That at the start of the season when he wasn't there, I was just marveling in Yuri Tielemans the whole time. But yeah, let's give it to Kamara. I think Kamara for me. Be interested to see what other people think. Who the man of the match was. But in fairness, Rob, you are right. Rodgers' ball to Rashford was a thing of beauty. It's like something you'd see on Sunday morning in a Sunday league game. But Jesus, they all work. It's just play the ball at the right pace, the right at the the right length, and make sure that your striker has a good set, shows the defense a clean pair of heels. And sometimes you don't need to reinvent the wheel. And we know that Unai Emery likes to play patient build-up football and triangles in midfield and get it out to the sides and move and shuffle teams to one side so that we can break with diagonal runs and then runs through the center. And we know he likes to do that. But sometimes when a player just sees that there's an opportunity to do to Brighton, remember, do to Brighton what Liverpool did to us twice. What Liverpool did to us twice this season, in essentially just keeping a pacey fella up top, and the ball is cleared, lump it up to him and let him do the rest. And if we remember that game, we had 2 corners, attacking corners. They went down and they definitely scored 1, if not 2 goals from that. So it's a copycat league. It's a copycat game. Game of football is a copycat game. From set pieces, it's a copycat game. From in build up and transition play, it's a copycat game. That's why the game evolves, and sometimes this formation is on top, and then sometimes this formation is on top, and then sometimes then there's the false 9 was the haute couture thing when Fabregas was playing there for Spain, and then then Makelele becomes the great defensive midfielder. And yes, that's kind of stuck. That has stuck around. But, the likes of Makelele and N'Golo Kante, everybody was looking for that player to try and emulate that situation. And I'm okay with copying those tactics as well. But sometimes you don't need to be that intricate. You just need to langer it forward and let your pacey striker get onto it and see if he can beat the keeper one-on-one. And that's what happened. And I love him for doing it. Duncan Kilburn says signing up Kamara, Asensio, and Rashford is frankly more important than new summer signings. To be honest, up the Villa. It's making it very difficult not to sign the two. Not to sign. Well, I think Kamara will be done soon. It's making it very difficult not to sign the two boys, isn't it? It's making it very difficult. And look, I suppose if we do sign the two of them on a permanent transfer, and let's say we signed Disasi on a permanent transfer, we probably ain't doing any more business outside of that, you know. But do we need to? That's the next question, you know. Do we need to? And that's a conversation. There's time to have that conversation yet, but as you say yourself, it's making it very difficult not to justify signing those Asensio, Rashford, Asensio and Rashford anyway, for sure, I think. Where are we going to scroll down here? Sorry for yawning. Garrett McDonough says rather have the points than a game in hand. I'm a big proponent of that. Yeah, big proponent. Better to be looking at them than looking for them. That's what I would say in those instances too. And Carey reminds me as well about centre backs with dodgy knees. Of course, James Chester as well gets into that bracket too, for sure. Yeah, I'm going to scroll down here again. Seeking says here, Villa fans need not care about being entertained. I presume that is against PSG. All about the result. I absolutely agree. I 100% agree. If it's as dour as dank, and if Emi Martinez gets booked and is that almost about to get booked for a second time and they take him off, and Robin Olsen comes on and gets booked and is almost about to get booked for a second time and they take him off, and then if Ali Ziyech comes on and gets booked and is almost about to get booked for a second time and they take him off and they bring on Sam Proctor and he gets booked and is almost about to get booked for, you know what I'm getting at here? If goalkeepers need to fall on the floor and fall down the ball and take forever kicking the ball out and get back home with a 0-0 draw, you get no points for teams liking you. You get no points for other fans liking you. You get no, there's no style points for anything like that. Specifically when you're going to be a massive underdog in this game. Massive underdog. Like Villa, like we don't think we're underdogs, and we shouldn't, because we watch Villa every week in, week out. Every single other fan base is going to think we're huge underdogs, and let them. I'll give you an example. Speaking to somebody in the shop today, and they knew I do a Villa podcast, and I was talking to them about it, and I said, yeah, listen, we're looking forward to the PSG game. I was walking out of the shop, they were paying for their stuff, and they were there with their mate, and then their mate turned around to them and said, PSG are going to be tough. PSG are absolutely buzzing after beating us. The two boys were Liverpool fans, and there was me walking out the door going, that's exactly what everybody should think. Everybody should think PSG are buzzing. Everybody should think PSG are on the cusp of a wave, and let them do that and see what Unai Emery can cook up. We've been there before with Emery. Villarreal, just go back and look at Villarreal's run to the semi-final. They had two brilliant wins in the round of 16, the quarterfinal there, get to the semi-final as well. Unai Emery knows how to do this, and let's see what he's going to cook up. I've no problem with other fans thinking that the PSG are going to come and are going to dominate us and win this game, get this tie comfortably, because on the balance of probability and not watching Aston Villa week in, week out, they probably should. But we watch Aston Villa every week, and we know that Villa have aces up their sleeve. We know Villa can beat an Arsenal and then go on and beat Man City the next week. They did it 14 months ago. We know that Villa can pull results out of the bag when you kind of least expect them to do it. Now, we know Villa can throw in Ricks as well when we least expect them to do it as well. But when the big day comes, Villa usually tend to not buckle under the pressure. And as I say, there's a lot to be written even between now and when we play PSG next week. Obviously, we've Forest in the middle at the weekend, and that for me is my pivotal, most important game of the season coming up as well. But you know, I think it is important to talk about, I suppose, the run of games that's coming soon, because all of them are intertwined as well. Where else are we? Someone's asking me how I feel about Kenny Pickett. We'll put it this way: if Villa want to bring on Kenny Pickett and he gets booked and he's in danger of getting booked for a second time, I'm okay with that too. But that's probably the only time I want to see Kenny Pickett play for any one of my sports teams. He's got tiny hands. His hands are smaller than mine anyway. So, but he does wear gloves. He does wear gloves. And for anybody, that's an NFL reference. For anybody who doesn't know, Kenny Pickett is a quarterback that the Cleveland Browns just signed. Right, I suppose. Look, just kind of to finish off, guys, as well, because look, it's a school night. It's 10:15, and I could go on forever. And look, there's loads of other podcasts out there that I'm sure you guys are going to want to get your teeth stuck into as well. So I don't want to be hogging the airwaves. But I suppose just to finish it off, that Villa are in a lot of ways where we have performed best when we need to. When we're better chasers. I don't know if anybody's familiar with horse racing. We're better chasers than we are front runners. Specifically when we're in the league. You remember back to last year, there was almost a case of white line fever trying to get to the Champions League, and we knew how much it meant. Year previous, we were chasing teams to get to the Europa League or get to the Conference League, and we did it, and we chased teams down. I'm not saying it's that simple that we're going to do it again, but you know, as they've said, as has been said, and as said at the start of this podcast, do you want to bet against us? With the squad we have, with the manager that we have, with the players that are coming back from injury. As I said previously on the podcast, that is the story of tonight. A difficult game against Brighton. Yes, there was ebbs and flows from VAR. Yes, there was referee calamities, and there was referee decisions that went our way and that didn't go our way, and so on and so forth. We can talk about those till the cows come home. But the big thing here was there's a 3-0 win for Aston Villa, and that Villa showed character, and they showed ice in the veins to not get caught up in those decisions and to not let them define how they were going to play and define the result of the game tonight. And I'm sure there's Brighton fans there that are saying that they did, and you know what, I can't disagree with them. Obviously, I'm sure they think the Matoma goal shouldn't have been ruled out. They probably think that Ollie Watkins fouled. What was your man's name? Matt Weaver, was it that was coming back with him? And I'm sure that they probably think that that Matoma was pushed by Matty Cash. I'm not here to say whether they're right and wrong, but what I am here to say is that Aston Villa were the better team tonight and deserved to win this game. And their strength of character shone through by and those 3 goals obviously being scored by new additions to the team is a massive, massive shot in the arm for this club and for where we can go for the rest of the season. And I hope that is the confidence that all those players, those 3 players specifically, need and will breed that confidence throughout the rest of this team. So I'm going to go, guys, and I do wish to say thanks so much to everybody for watching tonight. There's about 1,200 people watching this, which is absolutely bonkers. What I do want to say is, as well, before I go, is some of you guys may know Samir from Division Retro. I put out a tweet earlier on. They have a 25% sale, 25% off sale going on their stuff. It's the do you know what? Why am I telling you about it? I was about to show it to you. It's the stuff. Right here. Oh no. Oh, I'm being attacked by gear. It's the Henson stuff. Properly licensed Henson gear here, guys. I have these 2 shirts. Unfortunately, I thought I was going to lose way more weight than I did for my wedding. And when I ordered these, I ordered them in a large, and I should have really got them in an extra large because they're still a bit snug. So that's why I haven't got them on. And I also ordered this too, which I still can't fit into either. So I'm hoping I'm going to go the opposite way and start losing weight after getting married. Not like every other man who puts on a pile of it after they get married. But they've got these hoodies as well. That's not an ad or anything. I just said I'd say it because Samir is a good guy. He's somebody I've met a couple of times as well. And, he's a Villa fan and they run all that stuff through Division Retro. And you'll find them on Twitter as well. As I say, it's nice to be nice, and they're Villa fans, and I'd love to see them succeed, considering that is all properly fully licensed stuff as well. So just said I'd throw that in at the end. But guys, we are going to be back again. It's thick and fast. We'll probably be back again tomorrow with a preview show for the game at the weekend. Team sheet tantrums, previews, wouldn't have it any other way. The way things are going, I might do a press conference piece for Unai Emery. I meant to do it for this one as well because I enjoy dissecting the questions that Unai's been asked now. Pretty much can't get enough of Aston Villa at the moment. hook it to my veins and keep it coming. So I hope you guys are enjoying it as well. Please like, share, subscribe to the podcast, all that beautiful stuff. Help us out. We will be back probably tomorrow night, I would say, again with another podcast, a preview podcast. But until then, everybody, drinking a lovely 3-0 win, 7th place in the league, ticking along nicely. Substitutes and players coming into this team and scoring goals. And stay safe, stay healthy. And all that's left to say is up the Villa.